not got accustomed to a lot of the new features behind Windows 11. As somebody who daily drives both Mac OS and Windows and a power user in both, I was happy to see a lot of the Mac OS like features that I'm used to within Windows 11. So with that, I want to share some of my tips and tricks to making Windows 11, well, great again. And with that, let's jump right into it. It is a throwback for me to make a video like this because it's been a while since I've done some Windows tips and tricks. But the first thing I want to talk about is customizing your overall look and feel of Windows, and in particular, the dark mode setting. If you didn't know, within Windows now, you have the ability to officially enable dark mode kind of OS-wide. This is a thing that you used to have to do through third-party apps and custom themes, but now if you just go into your settings app, go into personalization, click on colors, and then you'll see right here, choose your mode. You can easily switch from the default light mode to dark mode, and it'll take a second here to overhaul your whole OS and Windows. You can even go into custom, and custom allows you to tweak it at a little bit more granular level, so you can say like only in these specific app modes or Windows modes have it be light or dark. But yeah, if you are a dark mode everything type of user, then you can now enable that, well, OS-wide, because we all know aesthetics are what matter the most. Speaking of aesthetics, the biggest difference and change to Windows 11 was definitely the taskbar, and even some may dare say a more dock-like experience where it centered the taskbar items. To customize your overall Windows 11 taskbar, you have a couple options. You can go ahead and right-click and hit taskbar settings, and then you can start to adjust the look, feel, and functionality of your taskbar. Essentially what they did is they centered all of the apps and your start menu. They've moved a widgets button to the bottom left, and then your taskbar is still, of course, in the bottom right. But within the taskbar settings, you can enable certain apps that's shown here. You can adjust the taskbar corner icons. You can choose what happens in the taskbar corner overflow, or what happens when these apps kind of become too big. The taskbar behaviors is where you can adjust even further settings. So if you're just a classic fan of the left align old school version of how Windows Start menu was, and you don't want to go revert to this center dock kind of look, well, you can adjust that taskbar alignment. Microsoft heard you, and they have that feature baked in here. Furthermore, if you want to treat it more like a dock for Mac OS, especially on laptops, this is useful. You can choose to automatically hide the taskbar until your mouse hovers over the bottom. This is useful on laptops because you can kind of get just that little bit extra of screen real estate on the bottom there. And then you can adjust a bunch of other features here in the same settings menu. Next up, I want to talk about disabling ads within Windows 11, because unfortunately there is some ad tracking going on at an OS level. Again, we're going to go into the settings menu here, and then we're going to look for privacy and security on the left here. And then from here, we're just going to go into general. And this is where you can turn off two features that you may not want on. One is let apps show me personalized ads by advertising ID. So this is those custom ads based on your search behavior and whatnot. You can go ahead and turn that off by default. And then show me suggested content in the settings app. Again, you can turn that off so you don't get kind of custom ads within your own settings app. So again, you can comb through a lot of these settings features, but these are on by default, I believe, in Windows 11. So keep that in mind. You can go ahead and turn off a lot of that localized advertising all within that section. Next up, let's talk about the quick settings panel in the bottom right. This is another feature that's very custom, not just on mobile devices, but again, on Mac OS or even Android, you might be used to this. And on a desktop, this just gives you quick toggles to specific features on your computer. The same thing on a laptop. It might be a little bit more useful there. You can adjust things like Wi-Fi. You can adjust things like Bluetooth. You can adjust other features here that you might have enabled. And if you click on this pencil icon, it allows you to add different toggles to this quick panel menu and or remove things that you don't need. So for example, by default, there's like VPN that's usually there, accessibility is there, airplane mode, but I'm not on a laptop, so I just took away airplane mode and put on something like nightlight to easily give me quick access to buttons like this. Nightlight just adjusts the color temperature of your monitor, something like what Flux or Flux does to make it easier on the eyes. But yeah, quick panel, it's there. You might not notice it because it's actually baked in with your sound menu. So if you've ever clicked your volume bar, that's where you have your little quick toggles for things like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, etc. as well. Moving on, let's talk about virtual desktops, a feature that was actually out in Windows 10, I believe, and then got a little bit of a rehaul in Windows 11. Another feature that's been in macOS for quite some time that is very, very useful to kind of organize your workspace. I promise this isn't a video on how to make your Windows experience like macOS. It just so happens a lot of these features are things that are common in macOS. But to enable it, you just simply hit, or activate it, I should say, you should hit Windows key and then Tab. and then you'll get brought into this interface to showcase your virtual desktops. And then from here, you can see things like the amount of windows you have open, the desktops that you have open. So this is desktop 1. But if I hit plus button here, it makes me a second virtual desktop. And then I can click here and have a completely different set of windows open here and different applications that I can open. And again, if I switch back to desktops here, I can kind of drag windows between desktops. You can even go as far as right-clicking on a virtual desktop and changing the background for it and renaming it. This is super useful if you're doing things like work where you're editing a video on one virtual desktop and you have all your notes and other applications, or trying to separate different workspaces for different tasks, personal, work, etc. Yeah, you can make a multiple amount of virtual desktops and kind of customize your experience to kind of separate up your workspaces. Alrighty, continuing on here, Windows screenshots. This is just a common one, but this has been in Windows for quite some time, but the snip tool has been kind of rehauled. If you hit Windows Shift S in Windows 11, you have the snapshot tool. Super, super useful. I use this all the time. I highlight, it takes a snapshot. I can then automatically just paste it because it's in my clipboard, or I can click on the image and then start to annotate it, draw some notes on it, export it, share it, upload it to the internet, upload it to Twitter, what have you. So yeah, really quick, simple, easy way to take snapshots within Windows. Nothing new to Windows 11, though they have tweaked and made the overall UI and experience that much more easier. So Windows Shift S will allow you to take a quick snapshot of something with a custom, again, layout, or you can adjust it to take a snapshot of a window, custom drawing, so on and so forth. All right, next up, let's talk about focus assists. So if you are in Windows 11 and you want to focus on some work in this same panel here, like I mentioned, I have this toggle for focus assist. If I right click, go into settings here, you can start to enable and adjust the settings for focus assist. Focus assist is similar to a feature known as Do Not Disturb on Mac OS. The basic concept is that you want to focus on something, and you can tell it depending on a time frame of your day. So let's say you're working between 9 to 5, or you want to set specific priorities when certain notifications can show on your computer. So you can customize a priority list to say, when I'm in focus mode, only these people can contact me, only these apps can notify me, so on and so forth. So that way you're fully focused on the task at hand. You can even say, when I'm playing a game, only show X amount of notifications. Another use case for this might be useful for people who are recording or streaming, or even if you're presenting in this kind of remote hybrid world that we live in. It says, when I'm duplicating my display and I turn on focus mode, only show me alarms or calendar notifications or emails. That way you can save yourself the embarrassment of a Slack message or text message or chat message coming up when you're screen sharing that presentation with your coworkers. So consider checking this out. Focus Assist, really, really great to limit what can be shown when you're in a specific focus mode. And speaking of focus, another feature that helps you focus on the window at hand is this shake to minimize feature. And I guess this isn't a good representation because I don't have other windows open here right now. But if I opened up multiple windows here and then I shook this window, it automatically minimizes everything else. And if I do it again, it brings everything back up. It's just a funny, quick feature that you can enable if you go into multitasking under System and then multitasking. At the very top here, you have snap windows, and at the very bottom, you have title bar window shake. So I prefer to call it shake to minimize or shake to focus. If you turn that on, you can take any window, shake it, and it will minimize everything else. Really useful on a laptop or where you have like a single screen setup and you have a bunch of windows and stuff open and you really just want to focus on that one window. It's just a quick, easy way to get everything else out of your way. So just a quick little feature. And that leads me into the next tip, actually, to piggyback off of that. Window snapping. Same menu here. You can go ahead and activate this at the very top. When you enable snapping windows, you have all these other tweaks that you can adjust how this functions. But what snapping windows does is if I take this, drag it to the left here, automatically snaps. I can snap a second window here to the right and kind of have this split screen experience. Furthermore, I can hover over the maximize button in Windows 11 here. And if I have snap enabled, I can go ahead and quickly toggle it to adjust to one of these layouts depending on my preferences here. And then lastly, if I use the Windows key and then I hit my arrow keys left, right, up, or down, I can snap it to specific parts of my screen, maximize it, minimize it, all using my Windows key plus the arrows on my keyboard. So snap windows, another great way to kind of organize your workspace and divvy up windows. Really great if you're like taking notes and have a video playing on the side. You kind of perfectly align those windows easily via keyboard shortcut, dragging it. Last but not least, I want to talk about some third-party tools out there on the internet that are really great tools that you can then take and then enhance your Windows experience, well, even further. Starting off with Microsoft Power Toys. I did a whole video on this, like a separate video. Really, really cool tool. Definitely worth checking out. It adds a lot of these features that I talked about, and it did this even prior in Windows 10. A lot of these features came out via Power Toys. To quickly show you just some of them, if I hit Alt Space, I have a universal search similar to that of Spotlight Search, where I can use it for calculations, finding project files, accessing quick files on my computer, all in this kind of cool quick search through Power Toys. Power Toys has its own little settings menu here where I can do other things, like I can do fancy zones, which is now Windows Snap. I have image resizer built in, or I could just right click an image and automatically resize it. I can auto power rename applications or do it in bulk. A lot of cool features in Power Toys that eventually make their way to Windows in some cases, or just some things that they're testing out because this is officially made by Microsoft. So I'll leave a link to all this in the description down below. Two other quick apps from the Microsoft App Store, though these are third-party developed apps, are Quick Look and Ear Trumpet is what I want to talk about. Quick Look, again, apologies, another Mac OS feature that I'm very accustomed to, but one that truly just kind of makes sense. If I click on a file, rather than having to double-click to open it or open it with a specific application, like the screenshot I just took, to me it makes more sense to just hit the spacebar and then be able to quickly see that file. I don't have to get into it. I don't have to worry about tiny thumbnails. I can just go over it, hit the spacebar, and then, well, quickly get a preview of it. Because sometimes I don't need to fully access it. I just want to make sure, is this a file I need to access? The same thing goes for PDF documents, images, videos even. If I click on this video that I did and hit spacebar, it'll play the video in a preview window. So Quick Look, you install it, and that's all there is to it. You click on any file, hit spacebar, it'll quickly preview it. It doesn't get any easier than that. Ear Trumpet is the next one I talked about. The standard volume within Windows 11 is a little messy, and to get into the volume mixer, it's a little bit more confusing. You have to right-click, open volume mixer, and then you got to navigate here, and then scroll down to see all the list of apps here. It's not that intuitive, and it's not great when you're trying to find that one app in the background that's a little too loud, or you want to adjust the kind of volumes at a per app level. Well, Ear Trumpet, if I just click on the icon here, shows me everything at a glance. Super simple, super easy. I can mute the browser. I can adjust the volume. Really great for like balancing Discord, Spotify volumes, and stuff like that in the background, all easily via this single pane view. It replaces or it adds an extra kind of volume icon here, so you can choose to hide the default Windows one and just use this one. But I truly just kind of prefer this at a quick and easy glance because it's much easier overall to use. And bonus, it's completely free. Ear Trumpet. The last two apps I want to talk about are Start 11, which is from the makers at Stardock, a very, very famous company from back in the Windows tweaking days. They brought a lot of the old school Windows tweaks to Windows 7, Windows 11, Windows Vista, Windows XP. They kind of made the original dock application for Windows way before Windows 11. So some credit to them. Start 11 is a advanced menu editor for Windows 11. If you want to get that old school Windows taskbar back and start menu back, you can check this out. It is a paid app. They have a free trial, so you can test it out. But if you decide to get the single license, it's only $6. So it's worth checking out. And if you enjoy it, purchasing the full license to get a little bit more customization over your Windows 11 experience. Last but not least is a third-party tweak app called This Is Windows 11. It's actually been recently renamed to Bloaty Nosy because they claim that Windows 11 is a little bit too bloaty and noisy here. Nosy, I should say. And I'm going to go ahead and open it here because I downloaded it earlier. This is really cool because it takes a lot of the tweaking and guesswork out of all that stuff when it comes to Windows. You open the app, you have it analyze your Windows 11, and it tells you a bunch of things that it thinks that you can tweak to make your performance overall better, to kind of speed up certain things, and just kind of get rid of some sort of privacy things that it thinks are clogging up your system. You can just click here and then say fix all the problems that it finds. You can tell it to restore settings if, again, you aren't happy with some of the tweaks that it made. But if you want more details, you just click on this button right here, and you'll be able to see exactly what it's asking to do. So problems that it thinks are worth checking out. It also gives you the priority as far as what it thinks that these are considered. So for example, if you don't use this widgets feature or you don't use the snap assist feature, you can go ahead and it'll tell you to automatically disable a lot of those things to kind of save you some performance and get you better usage overall out of your computer. So if you're looking for something that's just no frills, no thrills, just click, scan, and tweak. This bloaty, nosy app is a really easy way to do it for Windows 11. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes my tips and tricks to improving your overall Windows 11 experience. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out the links down below for some of those third-party apps. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It really helps out. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.